All right. All right. Looks like we are live. No one's on yet. So I want to.
Let me try to share to Facebook. Hold on.
All right. I'm going to invite you guys to join in. Today we are featuring another immigrant story. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to come in and join. We should be live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So come on in, guys. All right. Were you able to share to yours?
I think so. I'm doing it now.
All right. Give people a couple minutes to hop in. Let's see if I can find it on here.
How do I know if it's shared? Let's see.
You should see a check mark come up once it's shared. All right, so we'll give people a couple minutes to come in. We have an awesome discussion today, so share it. If you're coming on, share it with your friends and whoever else. And we're going to jump into some interesting conversations. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to come on.
I think I have to go live on Instagram, right?
Yeah. I don't know. They don't have Instagram on here. Actually, they do, but I think they let you do a few. Let's see.
Hold on, let's see. Has anyone joined us yet?
Not yet. We could give them a couple minutes to come in, but you can go ahead and share on Instagram. Let me see. All right, I see one person on. Welcome to Immigrant Stories. We're gonna just give people a couple more minutes to come on and join. I'm gonna see if I could do Instagram as well. All right. So I think I have Instagram going here. All right, so let's do this.
I don't know.
All right, I'm live. Yours isn't on?
It says it's connected, so I don't know.
I am live on Instagram. I should be live on Facebook. All right. I am live on Instagram. I should be live on Facebook. I have a little bit of everything.
Wait, let me see. I think I have to go live on Instagram. What do I do?
Hey, Keelan. Thanks for joining. Let me say hi. All right. So we have a couple people on. Want to wait for a couple more minutes. So today we're talking about immigrant stories. Hey, Keelan. Thanks for joining. As you guys know, we started this series off some time ago, and okay, I've been slacking a little bit, but we're going to get it together today. And we have an amazing guest who I'm really excited for you guys to hear her story, and pretty much ask questions, right? So there's a lot that you can actually learn from people who've already walked through the immigrant process, and also just about their life, about the amazing things that they're doing. So we're just going to give a couple more minutes and then we'll get going.
Hold on,
We're
I'm
able
trying
to
to set
share?
up. I'm trying to set up the Instagram live for
Okay.
myself. I don't know that it's live. Is it live?
Mine is
Let's
on. I
see.
see you on.
I'm on.
Yeah, I see you. I see you joined. Um,
I joined yours.
yeah.
Okay, so it worked.
All right. Awesome. So let's get going. Hey, Pons, thanks for joining. Long time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome again to Immigrant Stories. And in Immigrant Stories, we highlight the amazing work and contributions of immigrants in our society. And today, I have someone with me who is what I would describe as the embodiment of transformation and determination. A mother, an attorney, businesswoman, author, TEDx speaker, and just all around empowerment guru. I would run out of words if I keep going. But today I have with me the beautiful and illustrious attorney, Tesha Allison. And thank you so much for joining me today. I know you have an amazing story, and we want to hop right in and just talk a little bit about your journey as an immigrant, and some of the things, some of the really amazing accomplishments that you have been able to accomplish in spite of, the things that you experienced in your life. So let's just start with a little bit about your background. Where are you from? And for those people who may not know where you grew up geographically, where it's located on a map, tell us a little bit about that. We're not gonna make any assumptions. So tell us exactly where it is.
Well, you should know, Jamila. It's the capital of the Caribbean.
Well, I don't know about all that. See, we're gonna have Caribbean wars over here.
The capital of the Caribbean. I'm from Jamaica. You know that place. That's the capital.
Irie.
Yeah, I'm from that beautiful island of Jamaica, right out there in the Caribbean Sea. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. What was it like for you? This and it is interesting, like sidebar, but we just saw the Bob Marley movie come out. And I don't know like how representative that is, because obviously, I'm not hating, not throwing shade anywhere, but I think Jamaicans would really be able to say whether or not it was authentic. But what was it really like growing up in Jamaica? What was it like in your hometown? And what was your hometown?
Well, I am from rural Jamaica. I'm not from Kingston or those parts. I'm from rural Jamaica. And my family, my mother is from like Western Jamaica, Hanover, like all the way over there on the other tip. You know where they say Rick's Cafe is?
Right. Oh, Rick's Cafe. Okay, yeah.
All the way over there. Before there was a Rick's Cafe. And my father was from the Mucka Mountains. So I am a true country girl in Jamaica. So I grew up between Maypen and Moco, the hills. Okay, where the dirt was red, is red.
Gotcha. And then what really what are some of your fondest memories, I guess, growing up in Jamaica? How is it different, from what you have experienced here? Just one thing that really stands out.
Well, okay, so remember, I grew up in the country, right? And I remember when I migrated we went to New York. And the plane land, okay, it's my first time on a plane. I was 17. And I was like, it stinks.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, New York. Yeah, I can see that in New York.
I was like, why does it smell like this, right? because when you're coming from the fresh country
Gotcha. It's
mountains,
different
like,
in the
and you,
city. The city air is a little bit different.
I was like, oh wow, this is it. The doors only open, right? So that was for me. It was, really nature, and I would walk about, and this is not kidding. I would walk about 2.5 miles to school every day. So I was
Wow.
trekking in. Yes, I was trekking in that air, and that's why I have such beautiful legs, because they were formed on the hills of the Maca Mountains.
Yes. That good Caribbean air, right?
Yes, lovely.
So was there what made you leave though? What really motivated you? It sounds like it was a family shift, but what actually made you leave Jamaica?
Well, I didn't, it wasn't my decision. I was 17. So my father had migrated and followed to join, how you get to go with your parents. And I
Exactly.
was tag on it. So
Yeah.
I don't think my parents would have said no, because in their mind at that time it's an opportunity for growth and
Correct.
opportunities that are not available to me, and especially that I was a teenage mother at the time, that were not available to me in where I was living. So I don't think no
Gotcha.
was ever an answer.
There was never a response for
Hmm.
you. Awesome. And so you mentioned that you were a teenage mom,
Hmm.
right? So I imagine being in Jamaica at the period in time when you were in Jamaica as a teenage mom was something that was maybe not welcomed. It probably changed a lot of different things for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how, as a teenage mom in Jamaica, really how did that affect you?
Well, at that time, you get pregnant, you're automatically kicked out of school. You can't continue. So number
So
one,
they
you're a high
kicked you
school
out of
dropout.
school.
Right. You're a high school dropout. And at that time, um, the scorn.
Mm,
Everyone, it's like everyone scorns you. Everyone has their story. Everyone knows why, right? Everyone knows everything. But it was a big scorn, and there was big scorn. A lot of people were displeased, and I remember feeling like I died, like for months.
wow.
I felt like I was a walking zombie, because
Mm,
remember, I'm from a poor, neighborhood. If I ever had any chances, at that point they were all dead. They were all dead, because that was a devastating thing in Jamaica, and everyone had something to say. When I say everyone, I mean everyone.
mm,
And they were not particularly nice. And
mm-hmm.
even still now, people still have something to say about it. And
After all these years,
oh yes.
and after all the things, okay, that you've done.
Yes,
Interesting.
because in their mind, they reduce that to that one term, you're just a whore. That's just what it is.
Mm,
Men and women alike. And that's the thing. But who cares?
that's
I'm a man.
unfortunate.
That's
That's
beneath me.
unfortunate.
Hmm.
And so but you persevered. You came to the US, you know with your baby, and you went through the immigration process, got here, got your green card. When you got to the US, um and I'm assuming you were able to, at 17, get back into school. What were some of and now having obviously a young baby, what were some of the challenges that you faced, even coming to after leaving the scorn and that situation? How did things change for you, or what were some of the challenges you faced when you came?
Well, I didn't take my baby with,
Okay.
and I still finished high school early at 17, even though I had dropped out for a year because I had no baby. So I was so advanced that I finished high school early anyway.
Hmm.
Okay, regardless of what was happening, I finished high school early.
Like,
So when I came to America, I had not turned 18. And my thing is, okay, I didn't feel like going back to school. I like, So I wanted to work because I know I had to take care of my daughter, and no one would hire me.
Wow.
Well, they would, like a McDonald's. And I was like, okay, I'm too smart. I'm not working at McDonald's. And so I joined the army.
Would you? Okay, tell us about that. I actually had no idea that you had a military background. So I mean, it's awesome, and in the world of immigration, it's actually a great thing to do. So you actually have military service. Thank you for your service.
Actually, we didn't go that far. So they recruited me. I aced the ACE fab because I told you I'm smart. And I didn't know. I was just doing things. And remember, I came from Jamaica in July. They shipped me off to training in October. And they sent me to Missouri.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's different from Jamaica.
And I remember when I remember when I got off the plane and the ice was on the floor.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
And the ice
that
was
hit
on
home.
the floor. And I was like, what? Okay, I've never seen snow, but I never seen that much snow in my life ever since. Maybe I was just, and I go there, they give you a bunch of medicals and they start giving you injections and you can't walk for a couple of days because of what they put in you. And then one morning I woke up and my lungs is like, oh, no, you do not.
Really? What happened?
Oh, no, you do not. And I could not breathe. And for about 4 weeks, no, longer, because they did not send me back home until Christmas Eve. I was hospitalized in the bed.
Wow.
Their
Really?
physical treatment. What? Girl?
What was the diagnosis?
Figure out what was wrong
because that's strange.
Yeah. And they sent me home. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They could not, no matter what. They're just like, and every day it's some testing, physical therapy, occupational pulmonologist, and they could not figure out what it was. They sent me home Christmas Eve, and they showed back up about the end of March for me, and I was like, oh no, we do not.
They're like, I had enough.
Oh no, we do not.
This was enough.
And they pursued me. Those recruiters pursued me for about 3 years. I'm like, oh no, we do not. So
I learned enough the last time. Wow.
My birthday was December, so by December I had turned 18, and now I can go work. And believe it or not, my first real job in America was in wealth management, Wall Street.
Nice, very nice.
Little young me got a job at Credit Suisse First Boston.
Credit Suisse, very nice.
And that's where I worked for a couple of years. Yep. Because I was determined. I said, I'm too smart. I passed what we had at the time was CXCs. It was a lot of them, over 10. And I'm like, no. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Including Spanish. And I'm like, oh, no. We are not doing McDonald's.
Good. I mean, that's amazing. How long did you stay with Credit Suisse?
Maybe 3-4 years before I moved to Florida.
3-4 years. Let's fast forward. Well, let me ask you this before we just kind of move on to some of the really amazing things that you've been able to do, and I want to be able to touch on those. What would you say is your biggest challenge that you have overcome to this day? If you kind of fast forward, and you've done a lot. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've overcome that you're proud of?
Does it have to be immigration related or just
no
personal?
Absolutely not. Anything that you want to share.
Self-doubt. As much as as much, yes, as much as I was certain I was not going to do certain jobs, it was always a sense of this little girl coming from Jamaica, had a baby, you don't
Mm-hmm.
belong.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that voice. There was, and that was the only, in my mind, retrospectively now, that was my only hurdle.
How did you, because now let's talk a little bit about, where you are now. How would you say that you got from, I'm a little girl, and I think to some extent we all experience this self-doubt, right? They call it imposter syndrome. I shouldn't be in this room, even though, you earned the degree, even though you sat for the bar and passed it, even though you sat and did all those hours in law school, in undergrad, even though, I mean, I could go on and on. You wrote the book, you figured your way, you earned your way on that TEDx stage. For some reason, there's still, that feeling. How do you overcome that? How do you go from, I see what I've accomplished, but I'm struggling with this feeling of self-doubt. How do you overcome that? Or how did you overcome that?
So let's get the timeline properly. The overcoming of this came before the TED Talk,
Mm-hmm.
and when writing the book, the first book, which
So let's
took,
talk about let's talk about your books then. You have a total of 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe
yeah.
you have 4 books. So let's talk about the first book, and how that experience really transformed you from self-doubt to I am empowered. Because there's somebody out there who this is going to help. I think this is something that we all need.
Give me a second. Let me try to get this back on.
Yeah, I think your camera went out for a minute.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get this back on.
Okay. And I think that's so important because we all face this monster of ourselves, stuck between, wow, I've accomplished so much and I should be doing more, in spite of the things that we have worked really hard for and the things that we have achieved. So let's talk about how you were really able to overcome that.
This thing is not letting me.
You're on. I can see you on now.
It's not. Oh, I was trying to stream it in my Instagram, but it won't because someone asked me to. But
oh man,
that's what I was trying to do.
I'm live on IG. They can try to maybe I can add you. Hang on one sec. Let me see if I can add you. Invite to join.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's on Facebook. But someone asked on Instagram, so I was trying to.
Well, we'll see if that worked. I did an invite to join for you. So let's see if that worked. Or you can have them just piggyback on mine. And
absolutely not. Anything that you or you can have them just piggyback on mine. And absolutely not. Anything that you or you can have them just piggyback on mine. And
all right, we should be good now. You should be joined on to mine as well. Did you see that?
I have no clue how to do this. I'm gonna try one more time on my other phone. If that doesn't work, forget it.
I have someone who is
We have a little echo now.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna kill it. All right, it's not working. Okay, where were we?
Let's see if this works because I think we have a little bit of an echo.
I killed it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I
I still
killed
see it
mine.
on here. Let's see. We were talking about this idea of self-doubt, and it's something that plagues us all. I think in recent times it's been called the imposter syndrome. But this idea of self-doubt, where even though we've gone through the process to be where we are, we've earned the opportunity to be in the rooms that we walk into, we still feel like we're just not there. We're not enough. And so if you could, empowerment guru, share with us how you were talking a little bit about, how you had this transformation from your book and writing your first book. Tell us how you got there. How did that transformation happen for you?
See, it all started the resilience. The you don't get to tell me what I am really took root when I got pregnant, because when everyone around you is telling you you're a failure, that's as best as you're going to do. You either listen and succumb, or you build up a resilience, and that's when it really took root for me. And it took root, it grew and it grew, but it grew unhealthily because that resilience also turned into somewhat of a resistance. Now, and it became more of, okay, I'm going to prove, I can, instead of just a knowing and an accepting that I am. And that's
Right.
the difference, because we went to the same law school. You know that when we step into law, even just getting into law school, there's a program specifically, to preserve the minority, students,
Right.
because we're an endangered species. And then you start feeling, but why, and it's this, maybe it's well intentioned, but it gives this energy like, okay, they're really not supposed to be here, we're going to really keep them in because it's easy for them to slide through the cracks. And it kind of reinforces on a level that you're not supposed to be here, because
You're
now
not
we
supposed to
have
be here anyway.
right now we have these programs to help to keep you here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, well, I don't see my other colleagues getting that, but we are getting these programs to say, okay, you got to be here. And on some level, it's reinforcing, okay, why, right? And then you start practicing, I start practicing, and then you walk into a courtroom, well appointed.
Oh boy.
We walk into a courtroom in our garb, in our looking like, you know, dressed to the nine,
I
and we
still get
walk into a
asked. I still
and
get
they look
asked.
at you and say, "Are you the defendant? Or you
I
need to
still
take
get
a
asked.
seat?"
I still in my suit with my my files and my case. I still get asked, are you the no,
The
I just
defendant.
decided to dress like this
And
today,
they're being nice when they say if you're the court reporter.
Yeah.
And you're
And
like,
that's a real thing though.
right. So then you have these instances along the path of life that they're always somehow at the core of it suggesting you are not supposed to be here.
Right.
Right? And in our culture, we are the descendants of slaves. We already have that in our generational curses and stuff, that okay, less than 3/5 of a man, blah blah blah, all this stuff. So that energy of not belonging here, not being not good enough, is embedded in us from before we were even born.
Mm.
because it was in our parents and their parents and their parents. So they don't really truly know how to walk around and say, oh, I'm the best.
You have to
Because
find a way to break those generational curses.
exactly, because imagine in the 60s, they're getting beaten, dogs are being let out on them. So it was just not a thing, like, So uh, you walk around, and then I committed the, cardinal sin of having a baby at 15.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you absorb that, because that's what we do when we are growing up. We absorb what is around us. But then becomes a point where, I'm in law school, and that's where women, and everyone's asking, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do this with all the kids?
Yes, that every you superwoman.
And every time someone would ask me that, I'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean,
Mm.
how do I do it? Like, what do you want me to do? Tell you every day of my life as I'm going through? So I was a little bit puzzled by
Mm.
the fact that so many people were surprised at what I did and thought it was normal, and I wasn't overwhelmed. And I'm like, why is this a problem? What, it's such strange phenomenon. And then I got to realize, starting talking to people, that most people think that they cannot, or they
Mm.
should not, or that it is not for me. Therefore, everything that stems from that, even if they do, everything
Yeah.
that stems from that is feeling like I don't belong.
So it's
And
a
so,
mindset shift.
and on its nuclear level. And so I started to write, and I realized how many things happen in my life to reinforce you do not belong here, versus how many things would happen to reinforce you are the best. You can do anything. And sadly, the scales were far from balanced. Far from balanced. So it's a internal cleaning that one has to do. It's not particularly pleasant, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to go back to the core of everything. And maybe your first instance is to blame someone, but you have to go
Mm-hmm.
back to the core of everything and see that you accepted on a certain belief, and it's the acceptance of that belief of worthiness that leads us to believe this imposter syndrome. That's number one. Number two, we need to stop saying we have imposter syndrome, because we're owning it. I'm not owning that. I'm not owning that, because our words reinforces thoughts and beliefs. So
Absolutely.
therefore, I am not going to
Absolutely.
say to
Power of
myself, I
word.
have imposter syndrome. That's madness. I do not. No, so
Absolutely. Agreed.
knowing,
Agreed.
understanding, because I came to the realization how powerful my internal voice was, because that is the voice that carried me through
Yes,
everything.
absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
you will never see that I had a mentor that's going to come and say, oh, if it wasn't me, there is no Tesha. There is no such person. I think everybody partly believes that I'm crazy, but it was my voice that says, yes you can, yes you can, yes you can, yes you can, yes you can. And sometimes that voice said, yes you
Yeah.
can.
A song, yes. Sometimes it's loud and sometimes it's you have to get it
it,
out,
it cracks. Sometimes it's just the
right?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that, and I realized that it was that internal voice
Uh-huh.
that carried me. And so I started to try to understand what makes us, why we believe what the things that we believe. Why do we accept the things that we believe? And at the core of this imposter syndrome that we have now
Mm-hmm.
created is a thought of one variation of another, some form of I am not worth it.
Right. That's true. That is true.
That
I'm
is
not
where it is.
worth that. So that's good. That's really, really good. Um, yeah. And that's something that we all, I think, struggle with and we all have to address, are just being able to look at ourselves, regardless of where we're from. We're talking about immigrant stories, but this is something that we all face, regardless of where we're from. People who look like you and I, or come from another country and have diverse backgrounds, that it's something that we all face. I want to just say hi to everyone who joined and joined us today. We have a good few people on. So thanks a lot for joining us. we're actually talking today with Tesha Allison and sharing her story here. And we're gonna continue. I want you to tell us a little bit about your books. I think you you have a kids book. You have an autobiography, and two other books. You know, so tell us where, if we wanted to get them, where can we get your books? And then let's kind of go into some of the other things that you have done. You know, your interest in helping people who have a similar story to you. You know, I'm from the Caribbean as well. Was not a teenage mom, but I actually have friends who were, and I understand the stigma that goes along with it. So I know you're very much involved in the nonprofit side of the world with giving back as well to people who have similar stories. So let's share a little bit about that. Tell us about your books, and then obviously we want to hear about this TED Talk. So let's hop into some of that.
Well, all the books are available on Amazon. Just search my name and all the books are there. Everyone shops at Amazon, maybe unhealthily so, but you know, we go there.
Yes.
So all the books are on Amazon. And yes, the children's book, the one that is the result of a fable I wrote while in undergrad at Barry University. And it was then in that class that I realized I have a gift for writing. So I revitalized that story and printed it as a kid's book. So it's there. And the memoir,
Amazon.com, guys. Search
yes,
Tesha Allison. You'll see all of her books.
the memoir was me attempting to answer the perpetual question of how do you do it? I'm telling you, if I had been given $1 for every time someone asked me that question, and I said this line in my TED Talk, I said, if I had been given $1 for every time someone asked me that question, right now, I'll be probably golfing with Mark Zuckerberg, or handing out my favorite things with Oprah Winfrey.
You have to understand, though, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you were in law school, you were working. I think you were actually pregnant for some time when we were there together. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Every summer I had a baby while we're in law school.
Okay. So I think you have to give people some kind of, you know, credit for wondering how, you know, and you went on not only to graduate from law school, but to become an attorney, to run your own business, and all these other things. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sitting here wondering how. So,
and I passed the bar on the first try.
First time bar passer. Yeah, that's huge, especially here in Florida. Hello, somebody. Yeah.
Again, for me, it was, I am going to do this. And I never wavered.
Right.
Were there times when I was tired? Yeah,
Absolutely.
I remember immigration law final. Jamila.
What? Not immigration.
Immigration law final. I was in labor.
Oh, wow.
I was in labor.
Wow.
In my immigration law final. And everybody is like, you know, they're pacing back and forth, you know, all the staff. And my kid's dad was there at the time, and I'm like, we're not having any baby until this is done.
You're like, these 3 hours are gonna go by, and oh my, wow.
And
okay, that I did not know. I did not know.
And for a time, I think I hated immigration law because
come on now, not no.
I was like, but I did it.
Well, you did it.
Finished. Yeah,
and
went
passed immigration law, and you know.
I had never failed any law school classes, and you can appreciate how hard that is.
Absolutely. Oh,
and you can also appreciate it. Remember Professor Smith, Andre Smith?
Oh yes, I do.
I booked his tax class.
Wow. Wow, congratulations. And
Yeah,
booking classes. So for you guys out there who don't know what that means, when you book a class, that means you got the highest grade out of everybody, so that's another accolade
mm-hmm.
that is really sought after in law school with their book awards and the whole nine. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
So for me, and if I were to reach out to any immigrants coming to this country, yes, the temperature now that they're coming in is different, and the resilience I had to build when I got pregnant, because remember, Jamila, well, I didn't tell you this, but poverty, right? No running water, no electricity, right? And all I know were the people that I saw. So no phones, right? And all I know were the people that I saw, the people that I would walk past to school, my schoolmates and whatever. And every time they would see you, you would see them, you would see nothing but disappointment. Then there are some adults that were, in the community that they rejoiced. So I was encaved in what I would call hopelessness. And
Gotcha.
all I had was my internal voice. Now, I didn't do it the most healthy way, but it was like, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Because you do not get to tell me. That was the mantra in my head. Because you do not get to tell me. Because you do not get to tell me. Girl, that was like fuel. It took me to Mars, right?
Fire and
Right? So, and now, because even my children ask me, Mommy, how do you do it? And I'm looking at them like, what? Even my children are asking me, Mommy, how do you do it? So, it's just that thing where you have to build up because this internal system that we have, it talks to us when nobody's around.
correct.
And exactly. And for me, I didn't have the luxury of waiting for someone to believe that I could and
To
to
tell
hold my
you.
hand and say, I see your potential. No, I didn't. So I had to choose that I had all the potential in the world.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that is one of the most powerful feeling you can absorb. When you say to yourself, and if my kids get anything from me, I hope it is this, that they have all the potential in the world.
You have
And they
everything
do
you
not,
need.
and you don't need external validation. If they don't take anything else from their mother, I hope they take that. Because that creates everything that you want. It's the driving force. When you believe that you can,
Self-talk, positive self-talk.
positive self-belief
Yeah,
is even more important,
absolutely.
because it makes no sense. Well, eventually, if you tell yourself long enough, you'll believe it. Because if you tell yourself a
Yeah,
lie enough, you start
and
believing it.
very true. You start manifesting, these things,
Right.
We're
And for me, I remember when I finished. Oh, girl, when I finished law school, I had to fight with the bar for 4 years to get admitted. That's another story for maybe another day. So that even reinforces within me, oh, you don't belong. And I
mm,
remember one of my tricks was every time I had to go to court and I felt like, oh, it's bad enough they're gonna ask me if I'm the defendant and I don't belong here. It's bad enough I have these things playing back in me, all the fight I had to crawl to get here. It's bad enough. And I'm not going to go to court now. It's bad enough that I have an opposing counsel that wants to win just like I do. And so, in Florida, they don't mind. So I would always wear a red dress on the days that I feel like I needed that boost. Girl, and when I
awesome.
and when I would walk in with my red dress, you couldn't tell me anything.
Do what you need to do, and it's probably always good to have that thing that you do to reinforce who you are, right? Because the fact that we're all here on planet Earth means that we belong here. God put us
Yes.
here for a reason, for a purpose, to accomplish something, and nobody gets to tell somebody else, that they don't belong. So that's amazing. I I so appreciate
And
that, because we need to hear
and we
that.
have to get it in our mind first, because I had to get it there first. So when I decided I was going to go to law school, I was already an attorney. Period. Like, I just need to go
It's a
through this
done deal. I just need to
because
do this.
who's gonna stop me? I just need to do this stuff because you say to do this stuff. But and go back to when I told you I had to fight the bar to get admitted. That's why even at that point I had no money to hire an attorney. And I said to myself, but I finished law school. I graduated. I can do this.
So you represented yourself.
Quite professionally because I got those 3 letters behind my name.
The SQ. Wow. See, you guys need to go out and get these books because all these stories where we don't have time for all these amazing stories, but that is phenomenal. That's absolutely phenomenal. I think there's a lot to say about really the power of believing in oneself, right? Having a dream and going after it. I love it. Yeah. As we get ready to wrap up, and I so appreciate you just being here and sharing your story and being candid and encouraging people, just really being a source of encouragement. Anything else that you want to add in this conversation?
So much come to mind.
Go for it. Go for it.
So much come to mind for immigrants, or for the people who will try OR and they're coming here and they're thinking they're coming for a better life. My biggest advice to them is believe you can where you can first. Because when you do that, everything else, it opens up this whole other world of possibilities that you're not going to see if you just focus on, okay, I have to go. All right. Believe you can get that life, have that thing, become that thing, period. No matter where you physically sit, because once that belief sits within you, doors of opportunity opens up otherwise. Like they just come, they're created. That's one of my things that because I didn't get to decide I wanted to come to America. Okay. So but right. I understand that I've heard amongst my people that, oh, I have to go abroad to make a better life. And they're coming through the borders, right? They're risking their lives. Women are getting raped, kids are dying and stuff. And then and the power of the belief system, because we are a people of power. We are the descendants of people of power, period. Our history says that we can overcome anything. And when and now we don't really have to survive anymore. We need to open up to thrive.
Absolutely.
So when we understand and accept that, we realize that we can start creating, we can start doing this, and the things that we want now comes to us. Then we don't have to chase. That's one of the first things, because I don't like watching those stories. They're hurtful. And then when they do come here, they end up, because they're not documented, they end up in these situations where people take advantage of them. And because they believe,
I see it every day.
And because they believe that it is a part of the process, then they subject themselves to these abuses that really no human should go through. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is impossible that if we are a Christian or whatever power you believe in, that you do not believe that that power is bestowed upon you to do, be, and have what you want to have. It's impossible. We just have to believe it. So that's the first thing. And I'm going to say this because I received a question on my Instagram from a young lady, and I want to take this opportunity to respond to it, because I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of people. And she asked me, how did I ever get over my situation? And I responded, what do you mean? And she says, how did you get back up after 8 kids and become a lawyer? And she goes on to say she only has 1 and she feels like she has 10, blah, 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 blah. And I said I can't answer that question in a text because number one, I never felt like I was defeated. So the assumption that how did I get back up? I'm not.
You were never down.
I'm going to law school because I didn't want an MBA. That's how we ended up in law school. So my mind was like, I'm never defeated. This is for me, and that is there because I believe it was for me. The journey towards getting it was okay. I have to walk one step after the other after the other, and that is how I navigated it. It's like I didn't feel that any of my children put me down, whether it's physical in my body or physical in my body or put me back as how to wanting to achieve my goals. I remember there was a time when the market crashed and we lost the business that we had. It was a mortgage company. And I remember at that point, okay, things kind of got hard. And I remember standing and said, okay, you know what, God? These are your children. And you will not let them go hungry, naked, or homeless.
Right.
And it will not happen. We're not negotiating it. I'm not asking you. I'm not begging you.
Hey, I am a Christian, and my Bible says, that I was young, now I'm old, never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. So you're right. You're correct.
And not only that, it says, concerning my sons and daughters, command me ye. Right? Hello. We're not hungry. We're not homeless. And we're not. No. And that was my bold affair. Like, okay, so the market crashed. We're going to rough that, but we're not doing this.
Right.
You made manna fall out of heaven. We are not doing this.
This would have been manna part 2.
And so my children are here, and every single one of them will tell you, in their mind, their mother is rich. I believe it too.
I believe it too. I believe it too. That is awesome. I think so much of so much of who we are starts with our belief and our belief system. And we have to have, if it's one thing, we have to have that positive belief. And that's where it starts, right?
On its most miniature level, that belief that I am special. And I don't have to wait for anyone to tell me that. Like, I get up in the morning and I just know. I'm bloated because it's that time of the month. Ooh, I'm so special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when we do that, we're going to walk. I remember, I'll tell you this short story. I remember when I brought my daughter to be checked in at Howard, right? She's going to Howard. I remember I didn't. So, and I remember when I'm like, you want to go to Howard because she got admitted to some places. And again, in my ignorance, I'm like, you want to go to Howard? She said yes. But I remember when I went on campus for her to check in her first year, and I saw those beautiful young Black men and women. Jamila, they don't walk, they glide. I kid you not.
I love that. I love that.
They just have this because it's a certain
in their step.
It's a certain type that goes to that school, right? And they're like,
yes, ma'am.
And I was like, whoa. I was so impressed.
She needs that. She needs that.
I said, these kids don't walk, they glide, like royalty.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I loved it.
This is totally off topic. We'll talk about it some other time, but I think, you have to have the HBCU experience. You have to. You have to. That's just my, I believe that.
On my dime.
That's not on your dime. So, Attorney Allison, oh my gosh, it has been such an amazing pleasure to have you. And I mean, I know this is only piece of your story. I would love for people to go to your website. If people want to reach out to you or contact you, how should they reach out to you or contact you?
Well, I have TeshaAllison.com. They can go to my Facebook page or Instagram, but non-law related. I'm redoing my law website, but my personal website is TeshaAllison.com. They can reach me there. And Instagram, Facebook. I think I have a YouTube channel. Yeah, but I don't touch it.
No worries.
Yeah.
When and we want to also be on the lookout for your TED Talk, which is coming out soon. There'll be updates on your website as well.
Yeah, when I find out, I don't know when it will come out. They don't tell us. I delivered it on March 21st. So it could have been out posted today. I have no clue unless I check or someone find out. But when I do find out, I'll update it on all my socials.
So we'll look out for that as well. Mm-hmm. So thank you again for joining me today. Just beautiful spirit, just as you are. And I appreciate you for extending yourself. She's actually in the beautiful country of Jamaica right now. So I
the capital of the.
Well, that's debatable. That's absolutely debatable. But taking time out of your vacation to sit and chat with me. And I want to just address people out there. We're going to keep going, because I am encouraged today to keep going. I am encouraged. And we want to invite people who, if you're an immigrant out there and you are a trailblazer, you have an amazing story that you want to share, reach out to us. Send us a message on Facebook or YouTube, anywhere you're actually looking at this. And just let us know. We'll love to hear your story and to share and to encourage, really to just encourage everyone out there, whether you're an immigrant or not, people who have gone through the immigration system. I think that they just have, they have a special place in my heart, to be honest. And they all have a story to tell because everybody is from somewhere,
Yep.
So we're going to say bye for now, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. See you all next time.
Bye.